And I looked, and I finally saw it. When you look at the French wars in World War II, you see high heels, stockings with a seam on it, and the little aprons. I said, oh my God, Donald Reed is a French whore. I didn't want to tell grandmother, she wouldn't let me look at it. Now we know that the first person to be arrested for civil disobedience in America, of course, was Henry David Thoreau. And we know that Thoreau had a friend, his name was Ralph Emerson. And we know that Emerson, for those of you who are English majors, Emerson never makes the cut. They say, name the 100 people you'd like to have dinner with. Thoreau always does, because Thoreau would be fun. You probably like to tumble in a hay with Thoreau. But Emerson doesn't make it because he was a snob. And he was self-righteous and all of those things that you hate about people. And he had that kind of, thing. So we know that Emerson went to see Thoreau, whom we call David. And he says to Thoreau, David, why are you in jail? And Thoreau was having none of it. He said, Ralph, why are you out? He was absolutely right. He said, there's an injustice. Why are you out? We know that the founding fathers, the religious founding fathers of Birmingham, are going to say to Martin Luther King Jr., when he's in the Birmingham campaign, why are you troubling these waters? And Martin is going to answer with one of the great theological documents of the Western world, letter from a Birmingham city jail. Now we know actually that everybody has a tattoo. I have a tattoo which it says Thug Life. Would have had a fit if Martin had gotten a thug life, So Martin probably would have had, if he had lived. I was talking to one of the reporters, and I was saying, physics is true. Physics is more akin to poetry than it is to, for example, algebra. And it's because of systems. We believe E is equal to mc squared. We believe a light year takes this long. And we do the same thing with poetry. We believe that words have progress, that they carry weight. Your word, even today in America, is one of the things that is so disgusting. Your word is your bond. One of the things you really hate, and everybody in this room does, for a variety of reasons, we all hate a liar. And you might put up with a political liar because most politicians lie. But what they do. But you don't like it when your friends lie to you. You hate it when your family lies to you. You just like, tell me the truth. Whatever, tell me the truth.
Right.
And poetry is about truth-telling. So that, of its own thing, is a necessity. It is revolutionary. And poetry imagines, for the most part, a better way, a better life, a better person, a better you, a better me. And it doesn't demand it, but it kind of gives you a path. If you didn't do anything in life but read poetry, and that would be anything from Proverbs to T.S. Eliot to Maya Angelou to me, whatever. If you didn't do anything but read poetry, you would have this pathway to both peace and, I would hope, comfort. And that's revolutionary, because once you can see that there should be something better. It's one of the reasons that Shakespeare said it. He said it best. First we kill the lawyers and the poets. You remember? I mean, and that's because once you begin to see there can be something better, you will seek that which is better, and that will make the change. So I think that's why. We don't, poetry doesn't shoot, poetry doesn't poison, it doesn't do any of those really wonderful things that are quick fixes, but the real fix is how we change people's hearts, and well, some of you, it would like to see dead, but you know that's not the way to do it. And again, that's the greatness of the man that we're celebrating today, is that he is the one who said, the best thing to do with your enemy is make a friend. Make a friend of him. And I think that was right, and so we continue. A game with his friend. It was cave woman making those drawings on the wall, saying, we are here. Because she's the one back in the cave trying to protect her child before we decided that we weren't going to eat each other. One of the best, this is just history. One of the better things to eat is a newborn or a fairly newborn child. You take it out and you roast it and you eat it. And it doesn't appeal to me. But it's going to be a woman back in the cave trying to let somebody know, once I was here. The history of women, I talked earlier today about the history of black people because the history of black people is so important. But intertwined in that is the history of woman. And the one woman that we don't have any good sense of, in all fairness, I'm amazed that white women don't deal with it better, is frontier women. Because what is it? I mean, think of the courage. When you think of white women, you know, we always get that Scarlett O'Hara crap, and it just makes you so mad. And to have that little crazy bitch actually pulling up carrots. She was. And to have her pulling up carrots, you know, she was pulling up sweet potatoes. They just didn't want to give blacks credit for feeding those people after the way they had treated us. But it's that woman that got into that covered wagon with that man she barely knew to go into a frontier with people that hated them. And white women haven't taken up their own story, and they should, because black women are not going to do it for them. They need to really sit down. No, they need to sit down and do this history, because that was the most courageous woman in America. She's at home trying to build a house to scratch out a garden. He's down in the lower 40. She's going to be raped, and that's not Indians that was raping her. We have enough of that history. We have enough of those marauding white men. And what's she going to say about it? Nothing. Because if she says to her husband, a group of guys came by and raped me, then he has to stop trying to take care of what he was doing, to go off to get killed by them because they'll kill him. She has to suck it up. And white women have to write that story of how those women had to do the same thing that our great-grandmothers had to do when the slave master came. We have to talk about what has happened in our past so that we don't find ourselves repeating it. We have something in common with those women and girls in the Sudan. We have something in common with the people in Afghanistan. We have something in common with the people who are being hurt today. If we knew our history, our hearts would reach out and we would stop this foolishness. And Martin said, well, why don't we just try it a little longer? He said, well, Doc, he said, you know, this ain't working. You know, you need to admit it. He said, well, I tell you what. He says, why don't I play you for it? Why don't we just shoot a little pool. If I win, you know, then we'll continue the boycott. You'll be a part of it. And if you win, I'll have to think about calling off. Well, he was good. You know, a lot of people are really good at pool. So the guy was like, yeah, you know, you break, Doc. You can break. He didn't know what he was doing with it. And Martin broke. And of course, ran the game. And he looked at me and said, you fooled me. He said, no, he can fool me. I'd like to know that. That was Martin was great. I wrote a poem, and I closed this lecture with In the Spirit of Martin. This is a sacred poem. Blood has been shed and consecrated. Wash your hands, remove your shoes, bow your head. I have a dream. That was a magical time. High-ho silver away. Oh, sea stove, oh, poncho, here I come to say, today I want the world to see what they did to my boy. No, no, no. I am not going to move. If we are wrong, then the Constitution of the United States is wrong. Montgomery, Birmingham, Selma, 4 little girls. Constant threats, constant harassment, constant fear. SCLC, Ralph and Martin, Father Knows Best, Leave It to Beaver, Ed Sullivan. How long? Not long. But what, Mr. Thoreau said to Mr. Emerson, are you doing out? This is a letter from Birmingham City Jail. This is a eulogy for Albany. This is a water hose for Aniston. This is a thank you to Diane Nash. This is a flag for James Farmer. This is a how can I make it without you to Ella Baker. This is for the red clay of Georgia that yielded black men of courage, black men of vision, black men of hopes, bent over cotton or sweet potatoes or pool tables and baseball diamonds, playing for a chance to live free and breathe easy and have enough money to take care of the folks they love. This is why we can't wait. That swirling Mississippi wind, the Alabama pine, that Tennessee dust, defiling the clothes the women washed, those hot winds that lemonade couldn't cool, that let the women know we too must overcome. This is for Fannie Lou Hamer, Joanne Robinson, Septima Clark, Daisy Bates, all the women who said, baby, 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 I know you didn't mean to lose your job. I know you didn't mean to gamble the rent money. I
I know you didn't mean to hit me. I know the Lord is going to make a way. I know I'm leaning on the everlasting arms. How much pressure does the earth exert on carbon to make a diamond? How long does the soil push against the flesh, molding the moan that becomes a cry that bursts forth, crystalline, unbreakable, priceless, incomparable martyr? I made my vow to the Lord that I never would turn back. How much pressure do the sins of the world press against the heart of a man who becomes the voice of his people? He should have had a tattoo, you know, Freedom Now or something like that. Should have braided his hair, carried his pool cue in a mahogany case, wafted that wonderful laugh over a plate of skillet fried chicken, drop biscuits, dandelion greens on the side. This is a sacred poem. Open your arms, turn your palms up, feel the spirit of martyr, and be redeemed.